I think people really want more reform as opposed to like completely defunding the police. But then there's some people that be like, no, just defund the police department and figure something else out. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that we need to be working towards a world where we're putting ourselves out of business. So we absolutely should have a vision of a world where we don't need police, we don't need prosecutors, and we don't need prison. We're so far from that world right now that we're not there yet. But I very, very strongly believe that we should be taking money, particularly from the militarization of police, from their tanks, their flash grenades, their body armor that they're wearing when they're going into folks' homes, and shifting that money toward investments in our community that actually keep us safe. Things like mental health beds, affordable housing, drug rehabilitation beds, jobs programs, after school programs. We know that the best way, that these are the best ways to actually reduce crime and keep us safe. But we, here in Broward County, the Broward Sheriff's Office has a budget of $980 million. Just think of
incredible.
And that's just one of our law enforcement agencies, right? And that's per year. Just think of what we could do with 5 or 10% of that. With real investments in our community.
Right, we can
find. So I'm a big proponent of whatever you want to call it. Defund the police, reinvest police funds. There's a much better use of that money. And just while we're on that topic, also Broward Sheriff's Office, we have 4 jails here in Broward County. 86% of the people that are in jail have not been convicted of a crime, and most of those are there because they can't afford their bail. When we eliminate cash bail, we're going to be able to save a ton of money on local jail costs. And just think of what we could do with those funds as well.
So for people who don't understand what you mean by like you're gonna get rid of cash bail, explain that a little bit. So that means if someone gets arrested, they're gonna just be like, they're gonna do a first appearance and like the judge be like bye-bye or something like that. What do you mean like get rid of cash bail?
Yeah, so if your loved one is arrested tonight, he or she will be brought to first appearance court tomorrow morning, and the judge, in most cases, not all, but in most, will set a dollar amount that you or your family will have to come up with to get them out of jail.
Sometimes the police set the bond amount too, right? So like if depending on what you got arrested for, like when you get arrested, a police officer tells you a bond amount, because some people bond out before they even go to court that in the morning, right?
So the police don't set it. That's through what's called the standard bond agreement, where the state attorney's office and the judges have agreed to a standard bond for a number of crimes.
Okay.
And it is profoundly, it is again very unjust, because if you can't afford that standard bond amount, you sit in jail, whereas somebody else who has more money gets to get out right away.
Exactly.
But so they set that dollar amount, and for folks who can afford it, they can get out, fight their case. For folks who can't, they have to sit in jail months, sometimes years, before their case goes to trial or is pled out. This is the very definition of 2 systems of justice. Even for families that can afford to post the bail, that drives them deeper into poverty, right? And we actually know that Black women bear the economic brunt of cash bail the most. And when you are when you are in a decision of, do I pay my rent this month, or do I bail my loved one out of jail? Do I sell my car, which I need to go to work, or do I let my loved one sit in jail?
Even worse, they go and get one of those cash advances for like $500 or something, and then it takes them like 5 years to pay it back, and they end up paying like hundreds of, like over 1,000% in interest and doing that. So that's another one of those things that keep them in a vicious cycle. They go get the money that they don't have, and they continuously have to pay it back and pay it back and pay it back, right. Which is another thing that happens.
So what we say is that your personal finances should never determine whether you get out of jail. The only thing that should determine whether you get out of jail or your pretrial release conditions are your level of dangerousness to the community. What that means is, yes, most folks who don't present a danger, all folks who don't present a danger to the community, they're going to be given a court date, they're going to be ROR'd, and they're going to be told to come back. And only for those folks that we can prove present some sort of danger to the community do we then start talking about either conditions of their release or, in extreme cases, pretrial detention. In places where they have reduced or eliminated cash bail, and this is really, really important, because the pro-cash bail people will tell you that if you don't have bail, then there's no way to guarantee that they come back to court. But study after study has shown that in places where they've reduced or eliminated it, it has had no impact on whether folks come to court or not. Because in the vast majority of cases, the threat of a warrant hanging over your head is much more of an inconvenience and much more scary to folks than losing whatever
money that
than losing their bail amount, especially since they're not going to get that money back. For most folks aren't going to get that money back anyways because they went through a bail bond.
Yes, exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And so not only does bail not do anything to coerce people to come back to court, but there's some evidence out of New Jersey where they eliminated cash bail that has actually led to a decrease in low-level arrests. Whether that is because it's an actual decrease in crime or police are deciding not to do it because there isn't the cash bail there, that's a good thing. And so there's no redeeming qualities to cash bail. And so we are committed to ending it.
Okay, so what type of crimes would be eligible for cash bail? Does it matter what the person did or who they are? Like, you know, what is it that you're using to determine whether or not someone would have to post a bail or not to get out of jail?
No. We're saying that we will never seek cash bail, ever, period. For cases in which the person presents a danger to the community, and I can think of robbery, for example, or burglary, or domestic violence cases. Then we start talking about what are called pretrial release conditions. So maybe we put them on house arrest, maybe we put them on an ankle monitor, maybe we just make them call in a couple times a week, and so that we can protect the community while at the same time keeping these folks out. For your really, really serious cases, those folks aren't getting bail now, and they're being held pretrial now. Cases like murder, sexual battery, those folks are being held in pretrial detention without a bail now, and in those extreme cases would continue to do so when I'm state attorney.